Well, this review is late. Sorry, it couldn't be helped. There were circumstances. But really, though, nothing really big happened in this chapter. I mean, the fights went through pretty quickly. A little bit boring, I have to admit, but also this is Event Zero. Things are going very quickly. Also, I just realized something this week, and it caused me great amount of panic, I have to admit. So before I go into this review, I had to say two things. First of all, hi everybody, at least for those watching. This is the Angry Anime Fan, the Despair Reviewer. And the second thing I wanted to talk about, I actually just went through the, Anime News Network, and I suddenly realized that the latest volume in Japanese was not in the ranking in April. And that is a great concern to me. Is that meant to say that Eden Zero has now fallen into the hands of not selling? I mean, I was always a little bit worried that Eden Zero would end pretty quickly, but I was hoping that would not happen. But I also still have the feeling like I don't really know how long Eden Zero will be. If it will go on, maybe it will only be 200 chapters. I guess time will tell. Or will it? Either way, again, it's me, and this is now Eden Zero, chapter 46. First of all, a cover page with a nice little look on Rebecca. But in this one, the fight goes on. Xiao Mei is very delicious about the fight, and even the, public are too. Although Rebecca is wanna drool because he hears delicious. So, but then Happy and Pino asks, what are the rules? And she says that there are 4 opponents, and they just defeated the first one, so they will have to defeat 3 more. And and the opponents will only get stronger and stronger. So, but Xiao Mei will pick on who is gonna do the fighting. It won't just be Shiki, meaning the other 3 will fight as well. And she even says that you're friends, so stand up for each other. And they are allowed to use weapon, but are not allowed to kill. And if they are able to win against all 3, then she will provide the information for Valkyrie. And she does not break promises, so she promised that. Either way, next up is Rebecca, now wielding her Happy Blasters, fighting off against another B-Cuber, a very short, flanky, and extremely ugly-looking man called Flanker Yacht. And to be honest, is that guy's design meant to represent Hiromashima or someone else? Because I swear I've seen this design before. I don't know. Either way, he's very ugly. So, and he's apparently a B-Cuber as well. Someone that Rebecca recognizes as Bomba Boom TV's Mr. George. So, this is a part-time gig for him, but he actually knows of Rebecca since her popularity, although as we know, her video is not getting that much, thing. So this is actually, so now they're gonna re-record of this. And the fight begins, and it turns out that even though Baboom is wielding gloves, he's actually having guns inside of them. It's actually kind of a misleading. So, Rebecca fires off her bullets because she has better accuracy, but it turns out that Baboom actually has some protective matrix, protect against ether. And then it turns out that the bullets were actually intended to miss him because they can include some slime that are slowly melting off Rebecca's clothing. Basically, all of this video is just to slut shame Rebecca. Well, she's a Lucy clone, so that is to be expected. And Rebecca and Wise and even Shiki are pretty turned on by that. Once again, that is pretty strange to find of Shiki. There have been some indications that it was just a chaste hero, but now he's beginning to show a more perverted side to him. So maybe he really does have an interest in the female bodies. So, but Rebecca only thinks of the frog guy, so she charges right at him. But instead of firing her bullets, she then proceeds to deliver a powerful kick. Rebecca kick, understand. Since the shield only protects against ether, she keeps on kicking him until he is done. And that is very done as well. So it's kind of funny. And also it's lampshaded that actually she Rebecca actually has a habit of saying something when she's in gun or angry mode. It's called Seiyu. It's kind of funny of it all. Turns out Same did that scene because she wanted to see Rebecca's ether, because she says that Rebecca does indeed have an ether, but we do not see it yet. That is further in the story. Next up is Wise, and it turns out he's wearing a pretty nice suit underneath his suit. He's facing off against some dog rabbit, I guess, running God feet highway, who's running on the wall, saying he cannot be catched. So Wise grabs Pino, as he said weapons were allowed, but Pino gets a little bit afraid because she doesn't really want to be taken apart. I guess she still has a trauma for what is happening. Yeah, that makes pretty sense. But then Wise says that she's not gonna be rebuilt. She can just use her EMP because that is her weapon, and that strength comes from ether, especially the running guy. So I guess he had an ether gear as well. So we trigger EMP, the highway guy falls back as Wise then can just sucker kick him over and over until he's done. Basically a dirty move. And that is precisely why didn't I ask to let me use my weapon? That is Wise's character for you. He's a combat pragmatist. He doesn't care about honor. I mean, Rebecca kicked her opponents as well, but that was only because he was doing some perverted things to her. Wise doesn't really care about honor. So either way, it's pretty stopped that way. So, but even though all the sheet, um, then Xiao Mei is pretty nice. But then she says in her mind that the games are over because what's happened next is what she really wants to see. Next up is against Homura. And if this is to meet her teacher, she will fight. And who is she gonna fight? Well, that is a shock to her. It is actually confirmed this is not the real thing, but it is the Demon King's fourth Starshine Valkyrie, although only a replica. All these fights up until now has just been a distraction, because Xiao Mei wants to see Homura fight against a replica of her teacher. And for the first time we actually see a little bit on how Valkyrie looks like. And she looks pretty familiar to the design that we saw in her back. Although, to be fair, the only question I have is, where's the... Well, sorry. Where do the clothes begin and end? It's kind of difficult to see that. But yeah, she is pretty sexy looking. But Xiao Mei can surprisingly be cruel. She says everything she was just for this moment. And Homura is supposed to battle a replica of her teacher. She wants to meet her teacher. This is gonna be some trauma. Or maybe Xiao Mei is testing her resolve. How much are you willing to see your teacher? Can you fight a replica of your teacher? She even says this is not the real Valkyrie. This is a replica. Although again, is it a replica of Valkyrie? Why does a replica even exist? Is this meant to foreshadow to us what has befell the real fate of the real Valkyrie? I'm not sure, but she can wield the sword, the same soul blade as Homura can, so yeah, I wonder. So either way, it was just some quick fights, not really that exciting. It was some good comedy. I mean, it wasn't a bad chapter. It was just some nice comedy. It's the end that it's the real deal, the replica, and all that stuff. Fans can have all the theories they want, but I am looking forward to what's next. So you give me your thoughts, if you have any.